Welcome to Interdom 23, the Big Cat and Rhino show. It's finals night. It's all happening at Albion Park this Saturday night. I'm your host, Scoot, at Little Birdie TV, and this show is proudly sponsored by TopSport and puntingform.com.au. Big Cat, Matt Leppard, how are you?
Hello, Scoot. I'm good, mate. Very excited. It's a big week in harness racing.
The biggest, Ryan Spice, aka Rhino, Spicy. How are you, brother?
Yeah, really good, Scoot. Looking forward to the weekend's action.
Yeah, on your home dunghill. First, you, Big Cat, how's the series been? You making a profit? Are you bashing the bookies around?
I haven't actually added up how I've fared just out of the heats so far, but I think I would be in front. But there were a few that I got stung by at various stages throughout the series, but a lot of the maps have panned out as expected, and when you get the map right in those sort of heats, then generally you're going to get a result out of it.
And what about you, Rhino? Happy hunting ground or tough work?
I reckon I'd be maybe just got my nose in front. Night 3, Swayze getting rolled certainly hurt the multis. Night 2, I had a big go at Better Eclipse. He was brave, but Narano just knocked him off. But the Gus middle night when he ran a drum, that's kind of probably kept me in the game.
How do you find the workload? I guess it's akin to our Flemington Cup week in the horse racing world. Is it hard to stay on top of the form, or do you guys breeze through it? Once you get your map sorted, it's easy work.
I find in general that the intermediate heats are actually very quick to do the form for because the form is so exposed. We know the horses so well. All you've got to do is quickly work out what your map's going to be, and then it's pretty quick to work out how you're going to play the race from a betting perspective. The harder races to work out generally when you're doing form are the ones with mixed form lines, lower grade horses, and you've got to try and work out how the form lines fit in against each other, which we don't have to worry about because we've already seen these horses running against each other a number of times.
Yeah, that makes sense. Similar, I guess, in horse racing, but yeah, the deeper some of these races go, especially in carnival time, they can get a little bit trickier to marry up. Spicy, this is a question for you. I've already got my head bitten off from Big Cat, but the pacing finals at 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time and 6:30 Queensland time, banana bender time. I think it's a good thing, and it puts the biggest race of the night in front of the most eyeballs. But Mr. Leppard was quick into my DMs to say that he was a little bit upset about the rescheduling. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, can I just jump in there? When I said I was upset about it, I thought it was actually I was told that it was going to be race 1 on the card.
Oh.
So it's actually ended up being race 5, so that's fine. I've got no issue with that. But initially I was told that it was going to be the first race of the card, which is what I didn't like.
The floor's yours, Rhino.
Yeah, I can see both sides of the argument in the sense that scheduling it as early as they have, it's in an absolute sweet spot from a wagering perspective. So yeah, big tick from that point of view. It's going to get most eyeballs, most turnover. Probably the negative though is I think anyone on track, I think we would have rather have seen the race being, in slot race 7 or race 8. But if they can maximise exposure and turnover, well, that's got to come first.
Exactly. When you got, I guess, 2 pin-up horses that are deep into the market, there's a massive chance that the punters will reload, and you've got an absolute superstar in the Trotters final as well. So people surely will just stick around, and I think it'll add to the excitement of the night. And I don't think anyone will be going home early. Yeah,
and they've got Thirsty Merc playing after the last, so that's kind of the other incentive for people to hang around on track. So yeah, maybe RQ have really nailed this and then pulled the right rein.
Matty, you'd be flying up to Brizzy for it, wouldn't you?
I wish I was, mate, but I can't get up there this week. I don't miss too many Inter-Dominions these days, so I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'll just have to get to wherever it is next year, next December.
All right, I know I'm going to be under a fair bit of pressure from Rhino in the next couple of days, so if I can get a leave pass from my missus, I might be able to sneak up after the last race at Eagle Farm and just get up there and not do too much damage on myself on Saturday night, but easier said than done. Let's get straight into the pacing final and having a look at the market, courtesy of Top Sport, and Leap to Fame's very short favourite here, $2.45, Swayze $2.60, Narano $5.50, Better Eclipse $11, and then you've got Spirit of St. Louis $26, Speak the Truth $34, and it gets pretty big odds the rest, $41.51 and $151 is the absolute blowout chances. races. Let's talk speed map first. I guess the big talk is Narano, drawn 1, and we'll turn it up, cross it, creating an interesting situation for Swayze in 3, and then Leap to Fame's probably got the visitors draw in number 6. But who wants to talk speed map first?
Yeah, I will. I think the way that the speed map has panned out is perfect for us to get the spectacle that we were hoping for. I think all along, I think we agreed on this point before when we were on here a couple of weeks ago, and that was if Swayze drew to lead the race, he would probably start favourite, and I think that's the way it's probably going to pan out now that we've got the draw. Post-draw, in about a 135% market, I thought they'd probably go up about 210 Swayze and 220 Leap to Fame. And I think the tab ended up going up about 280, and they opened Leap to Fame favourite at about 230. If you reverse the draws, I think Leap to Fame would be around $1.20 with Swayze at around $7. So I think what we're sort of learning from that is that Leap to Fame is still very much the benchmark horse in Australia. But because Swayze's drawn inside him, it gives him a really good chance of beating him. So in terms of the map, I think Turn It Up does get across Narano. Narano is very quick, but he's a horse that has never had a lot of bottom to him. So Jason Grimson and Jack Trainer need to work out how hard do they actually want to burn up at the start, because if they cook him early, he's the sort of horse that it'll really, really take the edge off him at the end. He's gone really well through the heats, but they've all been races which have been dawdles and then ran home in 26 flat. Oh, not 26 flat, but 26 point something. So I think this final, they'll be running hard from about the mile, and therefore they'll be only getting home in 27 something, and it might zap the speed out of him. So I think they might actually be happy to let Turn It Up across. And then the logic suggests that Turn It Up will then hand up to Swayze. Depending on what happens with Swayze, Future Assured and Leap to Fame. Now, Future Assured is actually the same owner as Leap to Fame, despite being different stables. So whether he tries to run the gate to get ahead of Swayze in an attempt to make it difficult for Swayze to then stay ahead of Leap to Fame, we may see that. But if he doesn't run the gate, then I don't think Leap to Fame has the speed off his own accord to cross Swayze. So my logical speed map ends up with Swayze in front, Leap to Fame outside him, Turn It Up leaders back, and Rhino 3 back the inside.
Is that how you see it, Rhino, or do you disagree with some of those comments?
I think Matt's assessment of the speed map is probably the most likely outcome, but I think it's wide open to actually what does happen early and who settles where. I think the first 300 meters of this race, it's going to be game on, lots going on. I can't commit to one way or the other. One thing I do know is that Narano and Turn It Up have panels on this field from a gate speed perspective. So Jack Trainer actually jumps on Narano, Cam part off. This is Jack's first drive on this little weapon of a horse. I think if Jack gets him off the arm as good as he can, there's actually probably going to be room enough for, if he just then lets Turn It Up slide, there's probably room enough for him to even zip around and retake the front off Turn It Up. So I actually can see Narano getting the best trip in transit leaders back. Who gets there first, Swayze or Leap to Fame? I don't know. I'm not sure. Barrier 3 though, I think is a huge plus to Swayze. That seems to be his best spot to hustle off the arm. Can Future Assured get him into the first turn? I don't know. Maybe. And then the other thing is Leap to Fame's gate speed is actually developing. I would not be shocked if he did blaze the arm here and just about cross him. So I can't commit any which way. I'm not really sure is my answer.
I heard Jason Grimson say that he was pretty happy with the draws 1 and 3 for his 2 runners. Is there going to be will he sacrifice Narano for Swayze?
No. Narano's a great winning hope in his own right from what he's produced this series. So Narano will take a sit at some point on one of the big guns, in my opinion.
And so if they go super, super quick, I know you mentioned that Narano is probably a query if it was a fast run race, but out of the 2 favourites, Leap to Fame and Swayze, who's more suited to a breakneck speed, which you guys probably anticipate it to be?
My answer to that would be whoever's on the pegs leading. They're both horses that will run a very strong 2700. They're the 2 strongest, toughest horses in the race. The massive advantage if they run along the whole way would be to whichever horse is on the pegs. I find it hard to believe that if they're running time the whole way here, that a horse can sit in the breeze and win the race. Now, Swayze's biggest asset, as we've seen over his time with Jason Grimson, is that he's an out-and-out stayer who can really roll good times when he's in front. And if you look at every run since he's been with Jason Grimson, he's always been the strongest horse on the line. He always looks like he can go another lap. He doesn't really have a 26 quarter in him, but he can keep running 27s all day long. As we saw in the New Zealand Cup, he just runs sectionals over a long trip that ends up breaking the rest of them. The only time these two horses have met was in the Blacks of Fake back in the winter, and Leap to Fame had to sit outside him. He got a pop tyre on the bend. Impossible to line up what meterage that cost him, but the final margin between them was about 6 or 7 metres. Personally, I lean towards Swayze. If we end up with the Swayze leading and Leap to Fame in the breeze, I lean towards Swayze. If Leap to Fame manages to somehow get across him at the start and find the pegs, then it's race over. Absolutely race over, and he'll be $1.20 in play.
Wow.
But that's such is the importance of these first 300. I don't think I've seen an Inter Dominion where the first 300 is so vital as it is in this race, because the race will be decided, in my opinion, in that run to the first bend.
Well, they can't let that happen. And then I guess if you think Swayze is going to lead, what price? I see $2.60 at Top Sport. You've mentioned $2.10 early.
Yeah, so the tab put up 280 straight away. So I backed it at 280 and 260. Market price, once all the corps were then up, was around 220 until this morning. I noticed Top Sport totally pushed Swayze right out, back out to 280, which I'm guessing that means that's the one out of the two favourites that Top Sport are willing to pot. So at the 280, I backed it this morning. I don't think it'll start 280. I think it's the one that starts the favourite out of the two horses. I think not by much, but I think it is the one that will start favourite. And therefore, I think the 280 that Top Sport pushed it back out to today was too big. So I had another go at 280 again.
Would you guys, there's a bit of talk, and when a shorty goes over, punters sort of jump on social media and have a bit of a vent. Did you think Swayze was a bit dead, or there was anything dubious about his lead-up run last start?
I'll take this one. No, absolutely not. He drew a tricky barrier. There just wasn't the opportunity to pop off the fence. If it was there, Cam Hart would have taken it and put him into the race. It was just a victim of circumstances in round 3. The horse went amazing. He smashed the line. And in some ways, coming into what this is the grand final and maximum effort performance, maybe that is the perfect lead-up run that this horse needs. Undeniable winning hope in the final, but I'm finding it very difficult to separate the two big guns. And Rhino really is such an amazing knockout chance, given his great draw as well.
So we've seen what Big Cat's doing in the race. Are you going to show your hand, Rhino, or how would you suggest the punters at home take on the market?
For me, I can't play into the win and place market here because I have no confidence in how they're going to settle. For me, it's going to be an exotics race. I'm going to play hard with the first 4s, adding Better Eclipse into everything I do, as well as the 3 big guns that have drawn so beautifully. I won't be leaving out Spirit of St. Louis sort of for 3rd and 4th in the first 4 world, and maybe even in a really wide one, sneaking in like a classy Washington for 4th, who draws to just get a peg suck run. And he's had a great series. I could see him running 4th if fortune favoured him in the run.
Okay, so I'm going to put the gun to the head because we're a show of opinions. So we don't sit on the fence here. If I give you a $500 free bet out of the 2 favourites at Top Sport, who are you going to back? Free hit.
That's probably the easiest question to answer because Toppy are hanging Swayze out. So I'd choose Swayze. But my heart is with Leap to Fame, and he's due for some luck in running. So I'll be roaring loudest for Leap.
Outstanding. If you're not excited by that, the first 300 metres or this first lap is just going to be exhilarating. So get down to Albion Park and see this one unfold. I'll be doing my best, but you can't miss this action. And it'll be interesting to see how the markets move around. Knowing these guys, I dare say that there'll be an avalanche for Swayze, but fascinating comments. If Leap to Fame finds the front, it could be lights out, or a little bit scary if you think he's $1.20 chance if he's going to somehow find the lead. But going to be great tactics and one of the all-time great races. Let's have a look at race number 8 in the market, and that's the Trotting final. And Just Believe, he's just got that nice picket line of form, and some of his lead-up wins have been just dazzling. $1.20 and Queen Elita is $6.50 out to $9. So we recorded a show, a fortnight ago or before the series, and these two runners were just about pick 'em odds. So fascinated to see what the market's done here, and probably the favourable draw. Barrier 4 is perfect for Just Believe, whereas Queen Elita in a sticky situation outside that runner now. You've got Mufasa Metro $14, and then you've got Plymouth Chubb at $15, Olivici at $18, and then 51 or better. The rest here. Well, yeah, how do you lead off Just Believe? Since his overseas trip, he's just come back and dominated.
Yeah, he's. I never thought I'd be able to say this, but he's actually come back from his Sweden trip even better than what he was showing last season. He won the Inter-Dominion last season at Melton, sitting in the breeze outside the leader, and was still too strong. Queen Elita ran third in that final, I believe, from 3 pegs. The barrier draw has more or less made this a formality, in my opinion. For Queen Elita to have any chance, she had to draw inside Just Believe. Just Believe has very good gate speed. He has the speed to hold Queen Elita at the start and therefore work his way to the front. Mufasa Metro drawn barrier 1 for John Justice. It actually drew barrier 1 in this same race last year. And he was saying all week, John Justice last year, that he was going to hold the front, but he handed up meekly after 150 metres. And I expect the same thing to happen here. I don't think Mufasa Metro can win leading the race. I think if he holds the front with Just Believe outside him, then Mufasa probably doesn't run a place. So logic suggests that it'll be handing straight up to the favourite and trying to run second. Even if Queen Elita runs the gate to try and create a gap behind Just Believe in front of Mufasa, I don't think that'll work because Mufasa has very good gate speed. So Chris Elford has some big decisions at the start to make on Queen Elita, whether he tries to run the gate or not, because if he does and she gets caught in the breeze, then she probably, could even miss a place. So to me, it looks a formality. Once Greg Sugars finds the front on Just Believe, it really should be winning. I thought around $1.15 was the right price, and they put up $1.30. So I've backed it at $1.30 and $1.25.
Fearless.
Yeah, I mean, like some people say you're ridiculous taking that sort of price, but at the end of the day, overs is overs. And sometimes long odds on pops can still be way too big. And this horse, I've got no doubt, at the moment, top price is $1.20. I think Top Sport have pushed that out to $1.20 today, and they're currently sitting at the top of the market. But I can't see it starting bigger than about $1.15 with the corporates and maybe $1.20 Betfair. So I thought the $1.30 was just way too big. And if it rolls straight to the top as expected, then on an exchange in play, it'll be trading around the $1.10 mark.
The bookies might have to bring out the busted wheel from back in July and attach it to the car to Just Believe to get it beat. Ryan, what do you think about the map here? Do you agree with Big Cat's thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Just Believe has the speed to kick through and hold Queen Elita early. We saw that in the Great Southern Star in February this year. She couldn't cross him drawn outside then. So in my opinion, Greg Sugars just goes, hammer down, forces up. Pretty much, we've seen, as Matt was alluding to about the comments from John Justice and Mufasa Metro, you've really got to take with a grain of salt everything John says in the media. It's quite deceptive. Often it's totally the reverse to what happens on game day. So, second and third prize money, it's 41K for second and 26 for third. In my opinion, if he gets into a stoush with Just Believe, he's really just sacrificing his potential to maximise his earnings in the race. He really should just take the camp, put the tow rope on, and hope that he can hold on to Just Believe's back. I agree that Queen Elita and Just Believe, Olivici, from their sticky gates, I think they're forced to roll forward potentially, and cover may not be coming. So 2,600 off pegs with a solid tempo for them to run top 3. I think it's going to be a little tricky.
So where's the, it's just completely shot me down as a mug punter. I see Just Believe and Queen Elita at the start of the series, almost neck and neck favourites. I think the $1.80 Queen Elita or Queen Elita is value for the place. What's the juicy slot angle for me?
Well, it's value for the place if she gets cover. If she races on speed with cover, she's an absolute place moral. But if she's exposed, that's when it's tricky.
Are you going to throw something out at big odds here?
Place well, it's hard not to be impressed with what Plymouth Chubb's done through the series. I think Karen Manning should go 4 pegs, hope that it's a strong tempo, and then pick them off late. Should probably get off down the back once the gaps arrive. So I think Plymouth Chubb's a solid place angle, but definitely wait. I think he'll drift right out in that place price. I think if we get, say, 270, 280, then it's a bet. And there was sort of evens around earlier in the week, Mufasa Metro. So for me, that's, I think he runs a place more than 50% of the time in this type of setup. So they're probably the 2 angles I'd be looking at.
All right, outstanding. So Just Believe is a chips-in job, especially from Mr. Leppard. Let's have a look at some best bets earlier on the support card. Race 3 is one of yours, Spicy, Bonnie Prince Louis. So race 3, number 3. Why are you so keen on this runner here?
Perfect setup here for this horse. Loves a short course. It's a band 5. He gets a junior driver, so he's a band 4 horse claiming back into the race with a junior driver. The horse has smashed the line, Bonnie Prince Louis, his last 2 starts. The young driver that goes on, Alana Richardson, she is going at 15% this year and in stellar form. I think it's with his gate speed straight to the top. They put up $4. He's into around $2.30 now. I think that's closer to his right price, around evens. I reckon he's going to lead for a very, very, very long way.
So you could still take $2.25 into evens. Wouldn't surprise you as continued flux. Wow, $4 sounds an error. Matt, have you had a look at that race?
Yeah, I actually liked it too. I'm assuming I didn't get the price Ryan did. I think he might have got a bigger price than me, but I have backed it myself as well. It looks the leader. The horse should run well for Alana in front. She's a good front-running driver. Most lightweight female drivers, horses seem to go good for them when they're in front because they can just lead and roll along, and I think that really suits this horse from gate 3. Spear straight to the lead. Glenlady Boy, number 1, it would definitely take the sit, and I think Bonnie Prince Louis has the speed to get across number 2, Umami. So it looks the leader and looks the winner for mine, and I would be surprised on the night if it started black figures.
Yeah, so you think it's going to be odds on and heavily supported?
I think the money will just keep coming for it. The opening price of $4 or whatever they opened was ridiculous. I expect the money to keep coming. It'll start odds on, I think.
Yep.
Outstanding. Something for the punters still.
And one last word on Bonnie Prince. He's just such a good miler. He's won 10 career starts and 9 of those have been over the mile. So he's 9 from 21 of the mile. So this is his ideal setup. If he gets rolled, he'll have no excuses.
Outstanding. So you can actually chips up and chips in. Next one, Big Cat. You like one later on the card. Race 9, number 4, Constantinople. $1.60, Powder Keg $6.50 in from 7, and then you got Zealous Spur at $7. King of the North $10. Tell us why you like the Luke McCarthy horse here.
Yeah, so Constantinople's a trotter that did run through the Trotters into Dominion series, and it's probably a bit stiff not to be in the final. In the first round of heats, it ran 3rd. That was behind Olivici and Mufasa Metro. In the 3rd round of heats, it ran well, but it only ran 5th in the Just Believe heat last Saturday. But the reason it didn't make the final is because on the second night of heats, it actually made a mistake and galloped on that final bend. It was looming into the race. It was going to run sort of top 3 or 4, and then it galloped and finished last. So it didn't accrue many points at all in that second night of heats, and that's what's actually cost it from making the final. So if it didn't make that gallop, it would actually have finished probably about 6th or 7th in the points ranking order in the Trotters series, and it would actually be in the final. And if it's actually drawn 2 on the back row in the final, but as the emergency, and if it actually gets a run, it maps pretty well in that race and actually can run sort of top 4 or 5 in the final if it actually gets a run. So this is a massive class drop. The only danger I see on paper is probably down towards the bottom there, Powder Keg. It also comes out of the Inter-Dominion Trotters series. It ran 6th, 6th and 7th in the 3 heats. And last week it actually made a mistake at the start and spotted a massive start and finished really well. But the bottom line here is it's drawn outside back row. Constantinople is drawn to go straight on the front end and lead. And I can't see Powder Keg giving it 30 metres head start at the bell, and I can't see Powder Keg going around sitting outside it by the bell and beating it from the breeze. So Luke McCarthy on Constantinople can lead and dictate here and just looks too good for mine from the draw.
Yeah, I thought they're the 2, but geez, they both can do things wrong. Constantinople sort of flicked over into a pace twice and then galloped. Powder Keg has all the ability in the world, but loves to make an error. My gut tells me if Powder Keg does everything right, he's very hard to beat.
And how likely after they gallop or do something wrong in their next few starts, would they be repeat offenders to do it again?
Quite often, surprisingly, if a horse is making a habit of galloping, sometimes it can actually mean there's sort of something not
Bigger
quite
issue.
right with them, like a bigger issue, yeah. And therefore, they're more likely to probably gallop at their next run as well. There are some horses that just make a random gallop with no explanation sometimes, and therefore they're going to be fine at their future runs. But some horses just have tractability issues or might have a small underlying physical issue that could be the reason why they're galloping. And Powder Keg is the sort of horse that he has sort of always been a bit prone to making those sort of mistakes through his whole career at times.
He, just looking at his record, he's a little bit inconsistent and maybe a little bit enigmatic. But you guys might have to have a little side bet on that one. $1.60 Constantinople and then Powder Keg 6.5. So might have to have a bit of a margin or handicap wager there. But it's good to hear you are so bullish on either side of the equation. Might make it a pretty good betting race.
They did open $1.90, and I'll back Constantinople at $1.90 and $1.85. So I think I'll just hold fire if you want to back him. I think if he gets back out to about $1.80 on the night, anything $1.80 or better, I think is a pretty good bet.
Outstanding. All right, what's have you got big futures positions or in any of the finals, or are you cheering loudly for a certain result?
I don't bet futures, but I think Rhino might have something going.
Yeah, I've got futures bets coming out of my wazoo. I'm sitting. What I feel like I'm sitting pretty. I've got Swayze in the bag at $7.50 and League to Fame at $2.50. So kind of got an equal result going there. But Just Believes the one. If he can do the business, and then one of the two big guns wins the pacing final, I'll be well in front.
Burger with a lot. You'll be shouting the bar at Albion Park. So if you do spot him in the crowd, make sure he buys your beer if those combos roll, and it'll be neck and neck in that race number 9 with Constantinople and Powder Keg going head to head. Outstanding stuff, gentlemen. I won't keep you too much longer. I'll let you get back into the rest of the form for the rest of the week. I'm sure there's plenty of races and meat on the bone. Big thanks to Top Sport and Punting Form, our major sponsors, and you guys for giving up your time and educating us Little Birdie TV punters on how to bet harness racing, and hopefully finding a couple of winners. And best luck with all your wagers this weekend, and have a great time out at Albion Park and watching at home. But big thanks to me and all the team at Little Birdie.
Thanks, Scoot.
Cheers, mate.
No doubt this will we'll probably have some more harness shows in the future, so make sure you stick around and stay tuned for 2024 if you're a harness fan, and make sure you try and follow the boys on Twitter, and their DMs are always open, so if you want to talk to them, make sure you ask some questions. So it's mleppard11 and then it's at Ronald Spice if you want to talk to the boys about anything harness. But big thanks from all of us. Have a safe Christmas and enjoy the Interdom finals. See you guys.